All right, so now in today's video, where I'm covering the SEC Championship game 2023, we're going to talk about a few plays from Georgia. Really, it's like three that kind of highlight some of the things they did well against Alabama, and that worked out really well for them. And I think this is what made this game so fun to watch because they just went back and forth defensively and offensively. How Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele and Mike Bobo and Georgia's defense coordinator all came together to really make a nice, fun kind of chess match here as they kind of went back and forth with what would work and what wouldn't work. And let's hop into it. So this is the third quarter here, 5 minutes, 58 seconds up. Alabama is on 3rd and 4. Georgia, of course, has got their 3 down linemen. They got 2 linebackers. They got number 11 and they got number 18, kind of those linebacker positions. The linebacker number 33, the middle linebacker, is also there as well. They're playing man coverage here, or really, I would say it's zone, probably using a little bit of pattern match concepts. And I kind of get that idea from number 6, the cornerback at the top of the screen. You notice that he's not lined up directly over a receiver. And obviously it's hard to because of that trips formation over there. But he's outside leverage to the side. That's usually an indicator that there's like a zone or at least partial zone going on here. But I would imagine some type of pattern. So Alabama's trying to take advantage of that Georgia defense, how they do that type of thing by probably running some type of route combination that would get a guy open. But let me show you what happens on this play. Because Alabama's like in a 13 personnel here, not 13 personnel, 11 personnel, 1 tight end and 3 wide receivers. But look at what happens with number 11, that Georgia outside linebacker on the side of the Alabama left tackle. So on this play, Jalen Milroe kind of brings in Hale to kind of do a little motion to run upfield. But as soon as the ball is snapped, Alabama only has 5 people blocking. Georgia is rushing 5 on 5. So Alabama's offensive line makes a mistake here. And Georgia takes advantage of that Alabama freshman left tackle. And I think they knew that the left tackle kind of was a weakness. He's gotten better throughout the year. Caden Proctor has gotten better, but he still needs help. And he's a young guy, he's learning. So he makes mistakes like this from time to time. And I'm pretty sure that Georgia knew that they can take advantage of that every once in a while. So on this 3rd down, they blitz right at him after they had kind of a couple guys attack that left side. And Caden Proctor, the left tackle, for some reason kind of blocked down on the internal guy, the right end over there for Georgia, with the left guard to help a little bit when he probably shouldn't have done so, knowing that there was a rush coming off the edge from the very fast linebacker who was coming after Jalen Milroe. So this play ended up being a very easy track down and sack from the linebacker number 11 for Georgia. He kind of shifts late, and I think that's kind of how they took advantage of the left tackle. He may have noticed, but he's probably thinking in his head before this play, now before the linebacker gets over here, I'm going to help down a little bit and then try to kick out. He's too slow for that because the linebacker run right by him. I think he notices number 11 coming by, but at that point it's too late. I'm going to tell you now, Alabama in the offensive line and their offense does not design plays unless it's like a read option where they're letting a guy come in free where you're supposed to let a guy run right by you. And in this case, I think Caden Proctor made a mistake here. And I think Georgia knew that they can probably force Proctor to make some mistakes like this. And I think this is one of the cases where they were able to do so. I think they sacked Milroe a few times in the game. I don't know the exact number at the moment. But instead of harping on that for a little bit, let's actually go to the next play that I want to show you from the Georgia defense and how they did against the run against Alabama in this game. So while Alabama was able to get some runs throughout the game, and it ended up being kind of like a consistent, or they went over 100 yards and was able to use that to kind of be a catalyst for the offense. It wasn't necessarily a run all over Georgia type of run offense. They were able to get runs when they needed it, and that was really helpful, especially if they churned out some of these drives where they would take advantage of Georgia on the edge and even run up the middle sometimes. But Georgia also still played really good run defense. It maybe not be that elite run defense that they've had in like 2021 and 2022, but they still play some really good defense, and I'll show you an example of that as they perfectly stuff Alabama on this play. This is now the 3rd quarter, 11 minutes and 21 seconds left in the game. Alabama's up 17-7. It's 2nd and 7 right now. Alabama is in 12 personnel again, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and they have 3 wide receivers. But on this play, what you're going to see is that Georgia has 4 people up on the line of scrimmage. And they are going to actually rush 5 as they bring guy forward. And when they see 6, when they see this run play, look how Georgia responds. Look at the linebacker number 33. They got the DB number 23 comes forward. Look at how the Alabama offensive line doesn't really get much push here because the Georgia defensive line actually holds up well, especially that guy on the end. He kind of comes forward, he stuffs that tight end trying to block him, and he doesn't get moved off the line of scrimmage. He literally stays lateral with the line of scrimmage. He doesn't get moved. He fills up that A gap, basically, which is to the left of the left tackle, or I said A gap. I mean that C gap, which is to the left of the left tackle. And Rodell Williams has nowhere to go. He runs up the middle. He tries to cut to the outside because that guy, that end who's holding up the tight end, number 45, Hoots, at the line of scrimmage, he forces Rodell Williams to get to the outside. He does a fantastic job of filling up the gap that Alabama tried to create in that space, and that forces Rodell Williams to get to the outside. Unfortunately, that DB number 23 is over there as well because he came forward when he thought it was a running play, and he's able to get low. And then number 13, the guy who's holding up Oots, the tight end, number 45, they both wrap up Rodell Williams for the tackle here, tackle for loss. This is this type of play because Georgia held up fairly well. Like I said, if it was 2021 defense, maybe the defensive line would have been in the backfield to stop this run, at that point. But this is an example of what they did throughout the game. Like I said, they didn't do this consistently every time where they stopped Alabama from running every time. You can even see at the beginning of this play, Rodell Williams already to this point had 9 rushes for 45 yards, which is a solid day running the ball. It wasn't prolific or elite running plays, but they would get success every once in a while. But also Georgia would showcase that they still know how to play good run defense, as they did right here. That play from number 13 is a fantastic play. That is really good run defense from a defensive lineman. He held up the guy trying to block him at the line of scrimmage. He didn't get knocked off the ball. He didn't get moved off the line of scrimmage. And as a matter of fact, he filled the hole up the gap, forcing the running back to get to the outside instead of being able to run inside and make more guys miss and get yards. And that allowed his other tacklers, number 23 guys from the secondary and the linebackers, to catch up. And he and number 23 were able to get a tackle for loss on Rodell Williams. Really good play by the Georgia defense right here. And they did this throughout the game at various times. So let's show you the last play, at least in this particular video, on the Georgia defense. I feel like I want to do more because they did a great job. The second quarter still, I said we should go back to the second quarter here. 2 minutes and 22 seconds left. Alabama's 10-7. Alabama is with 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end. All the wide receivers are on the right side of the offense. Georgia has 4 people on the line of scrimmage. And what they're going to do here is get a sack on Alabama, a coverage sack. So I just showed you how their front 7 played well throughout the game. I'm going to show you how well their secondary actually played very well in this game and actually had the Alabama receivers covered up. So Georgia actually, they have 4 people on the line of scrimmage, but actually rushed 5. They push a guy forward, and they have a guy spying Jalen Miro. Number 5 is spying Jalen Miro, and they had a blitzer, I think number 2. So the secondary come forward. The Alabama offensive line picks it up really well, actually. Jalen Miro has time, but nobody's open. And I will say he has time initially. He has about 3 seconds in the pocket here. But usually you think 3 seconds. Maybe he has somebody to throw to, somebody's hot, he can get the ball out to somebody. Technically, nah. Especially if you saw the other angle. I don't have the other angle of this play. When you see the ESPN angle, they kind of turn around. I said ESPN, the CBS angle where they turn it around and show you what the secondary is doing. The Alabama, there was no apparent open guy on this play. Jalen Miro literally had no one to throw this ball to. You may wonder, did he have he faked it to Jam Miller on the pitch at the start of the play. I don't know if Jam Miller was an option for this pass here, but if he was, I think he may have been because Jam Miller was waiting over there. But by that point, because Jalen Miller was looking for his first couple of, the first 2 reads are over here on this right side, and maybe he could have got it back and hurry up and check down to Jam Miller. But also look at the hustle from the Georgia defensive line. Number 97 just kind of gets in there and dives at Jalen Miro's feet and wraps him up for the tackle. So number 97 is the defensive tackle. Look what he does to the Alabama center here, because the right guard actually pulls to the left to, it's a fake pitch play. He's got people thinking this is a running play, right? So he's pulling. So that means that center, the center number 56, has to guard this defensive tackle by himself. Does a solid enough job at the beginning, but if you notice, he gets knocked back. The center literally gets pushed back a yard when he tries to pick up that block on number 97 coming up the field. And so that's what happened. He gets it back. He kind of recovers a little bit to step back. But then number 97 fights through the block of the left guard as well, coming around that side, goes back into the center, McLaughlin, kind of shimmies around him a little bit. This actually is really impressive when you think about it, because this all happened within the span of 3 seconds. And then as he's falling to the ground, he dives forward for Jalen Milroe and gets the sack. Like I said, the most optimal, I guess like the best possible decision Jalen Milroe could have made here was to hurry up and come off those wide receivers and to maybe throw a check down to Jan Miller, assuming Jan Miller was actually eligible to get this ball here. I don't know if he was. Just we'll see. But that was a really good play by the Georgia defense. Like I said, the Alabama offensive line held up fairly well to begin with, but that hustle from 97 worked out really well. And then especially considering Jalen Milroe couldn't run as well, there's basically 2 spies on this play. Georgia really played good defense. A lot of people wonder why Georgia actually ran the whole rush 3 people and have 2 spies. Honestly, I think it wasn't a bad defensive game plan. It kind of worked out at various times, and the reason why I think it works is that Jalen Milroe really stresses the defense when he can move and give his wide receivers time to just basically trick out those DBs and get wide open, or get a little bit more open, I should say, or force themselves to run into a route that works. And he kind of is a master of plays that break down and make something happen. Now, obviously, based on the video from yesterday where he throws the touchdown to Jermaine Burton, he obviously does the traditional things well too, but Georgia wanted to limit the plays where he does the improvising magic. They wanted to limit his improvising plays, and to be fair, this defense that they're kind of running, the 5 people, 3 rushing and 2 spying type deal, or sometimes even 6, that kind of cut down on the improvising plays. So I got to give Kirby Smart and the defensive coordinator credit for trying to scheme out Jalen Milroe's improvisation. And to be fair, it kind of worked in this game. And I really like to see that type of matchup or changes in the defense between the offense and defense of the game. So what did you all think about how Georgia's defense played? Were you impressed? What did you think? What did you see? I would love to know. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.